On the phone, we have former Los Angeles Dodger, Washington Senator, Texas Ranger, Detroit Tiger, and a team I didn't know he played for, the Tahoe Club Lions. Frank Howard. How are you doing, Mr. Howard?
David, I'm doing well. How are you and Elliott doing there in the Windy City?
We're doing great. How do you pronounce that club you played for in Japan?
The Tahoe Club Lions.
That'd be a shock for you to go from Detroit to Japan.
Well, I was at the end of the line, David, and it gave me a chance to play another year. And I tore up a knee real bad over there. I think I could have played there for a couple of years. Make no mistake about the level of baseball in the Pacific Rim, Korea, China, Japan. It's very competitive, and it's a good brand of baseball. I don't think overall, with all due respect to the Pacific Rim, I don't think the depth or the quality of play is as good as our big league play, but they've got some outstanding individual performers over there.
Now, you went to Ohio State, played basketball and baseball. How did you choose baseball over basketball?
Well, I think I was really more nervous at that time as being a basketball player, but I really loved the game of baseball. I didn't know how to play it, David, but or play it correctly or fundamentally the right way. But the thing that really helped me is I spent 4 years in winter ball, so I played baseball year-round for 4 straight years. And I tell you what it was like a college education for me in that I learned to speak a secondary language. I saw a different culture. I ate a different diet, and I got paid for it. Now, not much under today's standards, but it was good money in those days. And repetition in your skill areas, running, throwing, hitting, and fielding, will take you as far as your ability levels, your baseball acumen, your baseball heart, your baseball belly will take you. So what it did, I only spent a year and a half in the minor leagues in a pretty good organization, the Los Angeles Dodgers, great organization. And it probably got me to the big leagues 2 years quicker than I would have gotten there, but more importantly, it kept me in the big leagues. Now, give you a kind of example of what I'm talking about. There's probably more lights in your studio right there than were in that old San Juancito Escobar Stadium in Puerto Rico. You're going to get Bob Gibson, Bob Bolin, and Juan Terry Pizarro all blowing at about 94, 95 on their radar gun. That's not the jugs or the stalker, the high guns they use today, but it was a radar gun. It was a pretty good secondary pitch. You're going to counter with Earl Wilson, Louis Tiant, and Pete Rickard. So you'll learn to compete. Either that or they'll have you on a boat back home.
Did you ever think, you know what, maybe I was born a couple of years too early because if I went to Ohio State...
Well, the money wasn't there for us. In today's world with your mega radio and television revenues, the money's there for these young men. God bless them. Am I jealous of what they're making? No way. It just wasn't there. Am I envious? I'd like to be 25 years old and get a piece of that pie today. But no, these our young, your players that are in Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame, they would have been superstars in any era. Ernie Banks would have been a superstar in the 20s. Babe Ruth be a superstar in the millennium. But, and I don't debate it with my peers. They give me that stuff. They don't make them like they used to. But I said, you're right. They don't. They make them bigger, faster, and stronger, and a heck of a lot smarter. But your masses, I'm talking about the majority of your athletes today, they're a new, improved version of Ivy Silk. They're doing some amazing things on these athletic fields. In the mid-'50s, you had maybe 10 guys in the country, college and NBA, high school, that could play above the rim. When I say play above the rim, I'm talking about an arm's length above the rim. You had the great Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, you had Connie Hawkins, you had Elgin Baylor, you had Gus Johnson, you had Frank Howard, you had Jumpin' John Green out of Michigan State University. Now today you got Spud Webb at 5'9" doing a front flip and a back dunk. So, you know, today's athlete has better instruction, has better equipment. He trains year-round. We always had to work in the off-season if you wanted a decent life because we didn't make enough money in our respective games to let it go. So, you know, I worked year-round for 55 years. But today's young guy, they train and they take better care of themselves. I mean, there really no vices today. I don't particularly care to get into the steroid thing because I really don't know that much about it. But these young athletes in every game played today, they're well worth the price of admission.
I was thinking of Ohio State. If you'd have went there a couple years later, you would have been teammates with Jerry Lucas, John Havlicek, and Bob Knight.
Well, Larry Siegfried, Mel Knoll, Johnny Havlicek, Big Joe Roberts was finishing up there, and he played in the NBA and then later coached in the NBA for years. We recruited most of them. I signed in the spring of '58. I didn't finish my last quarter. I went to spring training in March, and they came to school in September that fall. They had most of them, with the exception of Siegfried because he was a sophomore. The other ones, Lucas and Havlicek and Bobby Knight, they had to play a year of freshman ball. But then they went on to, you know, win the national championship once or twice there, I guess. And, you know, there again, just gives you an example of what we're talking about. With each generation, they keep getting better and better.
What was it like being the guy who replaced Carl Furillo in right field for the Dodgers?
Well, you know, there's a little heat on you because there's no question Carl Furillo, outstanding outfielder, great arm strength, great arm accuracy, and great line drive hitter. Used the whole field, chalk line to chalk line, but basically stayed back through the middle and in his alleys. And that's the reason why, you know, he hit for such a high average. I think most of us, now not all of us, the great ones, you know, the Frank Robinsons, the Mazes, the Mantles, the Aarons, the Killebrews, and I can go on and name you 50 more. The Paul Molitor's, the Robin Younts, the Wade Bugs. When they come into the big leagues, there's no mystery. The talent level, skill level, and the mentality and the acumen is so great that there's really, but for most of us, there's a little doubt about whether you can compete at that level or whether you're going to be successful at that level. But until you reach that point in your career, we say, hey, I'm going to kick back, I'm going to relax, I'm going to do what I can do. If it's good enough, fine. If it's not good enough, well, that's going to be my walking papers. But I probably, most athletes say they wouldn't do anything different. I would. Number one, take a little bit of care of myself. Number two, I started making some adjustments in my thinking and in my mechanics a little earlier in my career. I really didn't become a big league hitter until I was about 27 or 28. I had decent years previous to that, but they weren't the kind of years I should have been having if I just paid a little more attention to duty, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, exactly.
You've done something right. You won the Rookie of the Year in 1960.
Well, you know, that's true, but like I said, I didn't make the adjustments to big league pitching as quick as I should have. I think had I maybe studied the opposing pitcher a little more, maybe some mechanical adjustments, I might have had much more success at an earlier age in my career.
That 63 Dodgers team that won the World Series, I mean, you were loaded. You had Maury Wills, who was the MVP. You had Tommy Davis, Willie Davis.
Well, you know, I was in the 59 series against the White Sox. I wasn't eligible. I was up and down all year. But they gave me a World Series ring, and very generous, and half a share. Well, it's because I spent some time here, but I didn't play much. But in '63 was a ball club with Koufax, with Drysdale, with Padres. I don't think Stan Williams there, but Larry Sherry, Ron Karanowski. It was really a ball club that was loaded with pitching. We were in Chavez Ravine, a much bigger ballpark then than it is today, distance-wise to the fences. But you got Johnny Roseborough, you got Ron Farrell, we had the great Moose Gowan, played first base, won the World Series for us. And you had guys like Dick Rizzuti, Maury Wills, Tommy Davis, Willie Davis. It was a good ball. The best ball club I played on out there was personnel-wise, was the 62 Dodgers. We had Snyder, Wally, Moon. I think personnel-wise, it was our best ball club. But we lost Koufax at the All-Star break. I think he was something like, I don't know, you can check it up, but I think he was something like 14-3 at the All-Star break. And we lost in a 3-game playoff to the San Francisco Giants, who were also a marvelous club with McCovey, Cepeda, Mays, Jimmy Davenport. I mean, they were loaded too. The Eludes, they had that tremendous personnel. But with all due respect, they beat us, and they just was one out away from winning the World Series. But I really think if we had Koufax the whole year long, there wouldn't have been any playoff. And that 62 World Series with our personnel and the Yankee personnel would have been one of the all-time greats. But as it was, the Giants and the Yankees played the 7 games, and McCovey smoked that line drive. Put either way, it's either off the fence or over the fence in right field. So they call it the golden era of baseball. I don't know whether it is or not. I don't want to detract from what these young people are doing today. They're doing just some marvelous things.
What was it like playing for Walter Allston?
Very quiet man. Very quiet man, very disciplined man. He expected his ball players to be on time. He expected them to play their rear ends off. If you didn't, you'd find yourself on that bench. Very fair man. I look back at all the managers I've either played for or coached for, and I've never met one that didn't try to put his 9 best players out there that particular day. Some days it might be Frank Howard. I remember one game in where was it? Could have been in St. Louis. I was 3 for 4 with a home run and a double and about 3-4 RBIs, and I come up my 5th time. They brought a right-hander in from the bullpen, and he pinch hit Duke Snyder. Well, you certainly aren't going to complain if the Hall of Famer pinch hits for you. But it wasn't 2 weeks later, Snyder's playing, and they brought in a left-hander, and believe it or not, I pinched hit for the Duke. So that was a little bit of a come-down for him, maybe, but not for me.
Moose Gowan was never happy about being with the Dodgers. He sold that World Series ring and said, I wanted nothing to do with that team. I was a Yankee. What caused those hurt?
Well, there's no question about it. He's the epitome of what the New York Yankees stand for. A pro's pro, the epitome of a teammate. His loyalty to his, and I was his roommate and teammate in Los Angeles, and we've been like brothers since '63. But God rest his soul. And in fact, I talked to Cookie, his wife, and Lynette, his daughter, when he was going through his tough times. But his loyalty to his teammates is unparalleled, and he really is. He's the ultimate, or the epitome, if that's the word I'm looking for, of what a real professional ball player is. He was a marvelous player and a great human being.
And you go from the Dodgers, which is sort of the pinnacle, to the Washington Senators, which is sort of the other end of the spectrum. What was that like?
Well, the writers asked me. Now, in baseball, we're this close and yet we're that far away, or vice versa. We're that far away yet we're this close. And I can kind of correlate the ball club that's playing in Washington now. Now, when I come to Washington, the writers asked me, he says, what's the difference between winning and losing? Is it psychological? I said, well, anything can snowball for you in a positive or a negative way if you let it. I'll tell you, with all due respect to the men I play with here, who I admire and respect, with all due respect, they're fundamentally sound, they're hard-nosed, they're hustling, they're always, they're Americans, they play to win. We didn't win many, but we played to win. Yet, I said, now you want to know what I think the difference is? Sandy Koufax, Maury Wills, and Willie Davis. Or Tommy Davis, Johnny Drysdale, Ron Fairley. It's amazing what three above-average ball players or quality ball players will do to enhance a second division club. And, I know the 1 year there, we finished 10 games over 569, which is at that time was like winning the World Series. But we all had career years, and those things will happen occasionally. And our pitching staff led the league in ERA, but we didn't at that time have that we didn't have the Tommy Seaver or the Fergie Jenkins or the Stevie Carltons. If we had a number one starter, who knows, we might have gone to the World Series play that year. Now, you correlate to what's happening with the Washington Nationals now. Well, they came from Montreal at the time. Their feeder system, farm system, I don't say it was depleted, but there were very few bona fide prospects at that time. And at one time, Montreal had the strongest farm system in baseball. But they were short in their feeder player development program. But now their scouts have done a marvelous job. You go out and you sign, well, they had the third baseman, Zimmerman, who's a franchise player. Then you go out and sign a Strasburg. Now you got this young player, Bryce Harper. And you've got, your solid pitching staff, 1 through 10. And that's how far away they were 3 years ago, and that's how close they are right now. And so 3 or 4 quality players to give you the added depth, talent-wise, to take them all on. They've got it now.
Gil Hodges was your manager, Ted Williams. Gil was able to make the transition from Hall of Fame player to World Series winning manager, whereas Ted Williams just never seemed to work as a manager. What was the problem there?
Here again, you're talking about playing with a little bit of a short deck. We had the one career year there for him. He finished 10 games over 500. But I don't care how great you are as a tactician or a field manager. If you don't have talent depth-wise to take them all on, you'll just beat the clubs you're supposed to beat and get beat. There's nothing wrong with Ted Williams. I'm going to tell you something. Everybody said, well, all he knew was hitting. That's baloney. He knew as much about pitching as any pitching coach. He knew as much about outfield play as any outfield coach. The one area that he probably didn't have a lot of experience in was infield play, but he had the great Nellie Fox there to help him. So, Hodges, the epitome of what, like Scout, they're the epitome of what professionalism is. Very disciplined in themselves, and they expect their teams to be just as disciplined. Very demanding of their players, but they're just as demanding of themselves. Dick Williams, the same way. All his I's are dotted, his T's are crossed. And boy, you come to play Dick Williams, you better have your shoelaces tied on pretty tight. He'll blow your socks right off of you. So the point being is that all of them, but you've got to have enough personnel to compete. Like you say, if you've got great players, you're going to be a great manager. If your player's a little short, you're going to look like Dimmy Dimwit. So, the players dictate how good you are, really.
But you were a class act too, though. You gave up your number 9 to Ted Williams, and now.
Well, I would say if I didn't, I'd probably be traded that winter someplace. That didn't bother me. I never liked the number anyway. My favorite number was always 33. So, You know, it didn't bother me one bit. You look back, I think most of us take a great pride in respecting the guys that made our game what it is today. I think if there's one area that I know my old boss, Dallas Green, he used to get a little disappointed in some of the younger guys today, and I don't mean this as a slap or a slur. Well, some of them maybe just don't have the time. There's so much heat put on them today to justify these contracts. But he always felt that they missed out on the tradition and the history of the game of baseball. And, you know, you go through Chicago, they've had some marvelous players. That sweet swinger from Whistler, Alabama, Billy Williams, tattooed that baseball pretty good. But go ahead.
Now you hit 382 home runs in your career. Some of them probably still are orbiting the earth. Are there a couple that stand out in your memory?
Not really. We all have a sense of ego. If we didn't, we wouldn't be worth a dime. But I think the real pros keep it in check. If you've got talent, you don't have to tell people. We don't know it. I can't think that any of them really stand out in my mind. They do if you help your club win a ball game. The biggest thrill in my mind that a professional athlete, I don't care what game he's playing in, the biggest thrill is we all want recognition. You'll get more recognition playing on a world championship club than you will. It'll supersede anything you ever do as an individual.
When you were with the Mets managing, you had a young Darryl Strawberry. When you saw that guy, did you think to yourself, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer?
Well, I tell you what I saw, David, Elliott. I saw a bigger version of Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle. I saw a guy 6'5", 215 pounds, could run like a deer, had great arm strength, great power, and he really wasn't that bad with the glove. For a young player, he was above average as an outfitter for a young player. I thought that I really did. I thought we'd see he had the tools to become another Mantle and Mays. I tell you what, that kind of talent, raw skill, comes along about every 25 or 30 years in baseball.
What was it like to see him sort of squander that talent?
Well, I was gone. I probably should have stayed with David, but I went back to Milwaukee with George Bamber, who was like an older brother to me. And I couldn't say no to George when he wanted me to come back. I probably should have stayed with David in New York because he's on the verge of winning the World Series. But for whatever reason, I don't think that he touched his true potential. I think he realizes that today because I remember when he went to the Dodgers, we played in a spring training game, and he came over to me. Because I had him when he was 19 years old. And he told me, I just want to play baseball, Frank. And I told him, I said, Darryl, that's what you want to do. Just number one, have some fun playing the game of baseball. Have some fun playing it. Now, we know the real fun comes from winning. But I told him, win, lose, or draw, have some fun, enjoy the game, if that's what you want to do, But those kind of skills come along. Hey, like I said, had I taken a little better care of myself, I might have played another 3 or 4 years and might have hit 450-plus home runs. But, he's not the first one to get sidetracked. I've been down that road myself.
How did you get the nickname Hondo?
Beg your pardon?
How did you get your nickname Hondo? What teammate gave it to you?
My first roommate later played in the big leagues about 6 or 7 years. And he won the '59 World Series with 2 pinch hit home runs. He was an Armenian of Armenian descent, and there's a tremendous history behind those people. And, the Turks destroyed most of them in the early 1900s, and many of them migrated here to the United States. He's one of my dearest friends, and was a fine big league player. He was drafted to play in the NFL. He could have done a couple things, but he went on to become a renowned attorney on the West Coast, and he gave it to me.
So we have two Ohio State grads with the nickname Hondo, you and John Havlicek.
He's in basketball's Hall of Fame. I'm in baseball's not Hall of Shame, but Johnny is a tremendous athlete. I asked Russell about him one time, and I said, Bill, tell me about Havlicek. He said, Frank, he thinks he can run for days. And boy, really, besides being one of the most gifted basketball players ever played, he's probably his finest condition basketball player. He's always in great shape.
Who was your roommate? What was his name, the Armenian ball player?
Beg your pardon?
What was the ball player?
Chuck a season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He had a credible career.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, he hit those 2 pitches home runs in '59 to win the World Series for the Dodgers. But went on to become a renowned attorney, really an outstanding class act.
So how many rings did you get when you were with the Yankees?
I didn't get one. We never, when they won the World Series, I was in their minor league system as a rover and a major league scout. But I did go to spring. I went to, Joe would have me in spring training every spring. I would be there as an aide de camp to do whatever they wanted me to do.
So you still follow baseball fairly closely nowadays?
Well, you know what I do. I tell you, I'm retired, and I go down and get my car gas once a week. I pick up a USA Today to find out what's going on in the real world. I don't follow as close as I used to. I do pick up the paper once a week, see who's doing what and where they are. Over 50 years in that business, it's been a fun career for me. Roller coaster ride, pretty good one too. Ups and downs. But I look back at the men I played with, I played for, the men I coached for. God, I thought to myself, I've been very fortunate, and I am grateful for that time in baseball. I'm grateful for the relationships that I've formed over the years. So it really is a marvelous game. Everybody says, well, it's a different game. I don't believe that. I think the pitcher mound is still 60 feet 6 inches away, and so it really is a marvelous game.
Who's the best ball player you ever saw?
Well, something. We call the 5-tool player. A guy could beat you 5 ways. Now, I'm going to name just some. You got your Stremski and Kaline in the American League. You got Mantle, certainly. And Roger Maris could do it all. Had he played another 5 years, he'd have been in the Hall of Fame. Then you go to the National League with Frank Robinson, Roberto Clemente, Henry Aaron, Willie Mays. And then you come into the modern era with Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. But I got to be honest, I didn't see Mantle in his prime. His knees were already banged up, and he's taped from waist to ankles every day. But a marvelous player. I'd say that Willie Mays is the best 5-tool player I've ever seen. The best hitter I've ever seen. Boy, I think it's in a lot of great hitters. Stargell, McCovey, Frank Robinson, Harmon Killebrew, Michael Jack Smith. Best hitter I've ever seen is Henry Aaron. You got the guy in Chicago with that great stroke of his, Ernie Banks. Woo! But Henry Aaron's the best hitter I've ever seen.
So who hit the ball farther, you or Wally Moon? Because he was known for those moon shots.
Well, he'd go to that little short porch out there and let us do. We give you an example of what this whole interview's been all about. I've seen Kingman, I've seen McCovey, I've seen Stargell, Killebrew, Mantle, Frank, well, I've seen guys hit baseball. Michael Jeff Smith. I've seen guys hit baseballs unbelievable distances. The one guy in my mind that has hit the ball consistently harder and further than anybody's ever played is the mighty Mark McGuire.
So is Jim Beam still your drink of choice after selling it all those years?
Beg your pardon?
Is Jim Beam still your drink of choice after selling it all those years?
No. That's a little bit. It's a great spirit, but boy, it's a little too potent for me. I'm goggle-eyed enough. I don't need to take any of that stuff. But it is a great spirit, great company to work for too. They're located. Their corporate office is right there in Chicago, up in Deerfield.
So you got a lot of samples in your house?
No, I'm retired.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You're more than welcome. And listen, good luck. I hope our paths cross sometime.
Sounds great.
Excellent. Thank you very much.